Hi, my name is Allie, for those of you who don't know me, and I am the maker behind Crochet in the Mud. Today is February 3rd, and I want to do a challenge for the month of February of trying to track how much yarn I use. So I've seen quite a few people do it based on skeins, and like when they have a partial skein like this, they'll count this as a whole. I think I'm going to both count how many number of like cakes I go through as well as grams if I can remember to keep up with that. So I'm going to try to keep a spreadsheet, and whenever I pull a cake out, weigh it, and then every time I'm done with that cake, if I don't finish it, to weigh the end result so we can also see how many grams we use for the whole month. I'm hoping that with February being a prep for success season, I'm trying not to look at it as the slow season of the year. I saw a post saying that it is the prep for success season. Hopefully, since it is slower in terms of things I have to be getting done because I don't have any looming deadlines at the moment, that I can go through quite a bit of yarn. So today I'm finishing up my how many axolotls can I make in a week challenge. I'll post that I'll link that video up here for you to watch. So I'm going to go through my last colors of using orange and yellow to make axolotls, and then we'll see if I can get through this much yarn. If not, we'll find something to make with it. This is how much yarn I have left. I did make 2 yellow and 2 orange axolotls of each one. Because I'm doing a challenge and today's the last day of how many axolotls I can make, I am not going to finish these skeins today. But I did keep track. I used 85 grams from each skein, and hopefully later on this month I can pick those up and figure out something else to make with them. But for the sake of the axolotl challenge, today I'm going to move on to these green ones, and I'll measure them and most likely use 85 grams of each because I'm making 2 light green and 2 dark green axolotls. So I'll catch up with you after that. This is what my yarn collection looks like for the most part right now. Down here we have all of my posh yarn. I do have plans for these yarns. I just need to get around to doing that. And then I have quite a lot of dark brown to do mallard ducks. Maybe we'll get a head start on that this month. Lots of blues and purples. Oranges and yellows. I don't have a lot of black and gray. I do need to restock my black and gray at the moment. Then we have my greens, reds and pinks. And then this is kind of like my white and like miscellaneous shelf. So a lot of this is for pocket octopus, and then these two I didn't know exactly where to put them, but I've been using them for cat plushies right now. But the hope is to get through a good chunk of this and see how much we can do in 1 month. A bit of an update. So yesterday on February 4th, I worked a shift at Eclectic. So I did bring this partial party pop skein with me, which had 103 grams in it. So from that I was able to make 9 pocket octos, and I have this tiny bit left, which is 4 grams. So I'm going to consider this my first skein finished. But don't worry, I won't be throwing this away. I'll probably be getting another skein of party pop at some point, so I'll hold on to that until I get more. But we have our first finished skein. So I did a thing. It is now February 6th, I believe. Yes, Thursday, February 6th. There's still uncertainty in the air about what's happening with Joann. And not that I'm running out of yarn, but I'm trying not to panic buy, just in case. But I was running short on a bunch of colors, so I decided to go ahead and place a pickup in store order. The day I placed it, it was the last day for an extra 15% off an online pickup. And then the next day when I went to pick it up, it was at 20%. So, oh well. I got quite a bit of yarn, so we'll do a haul real quick. And then we'll get into crocheting today. So unfortunately we haven't gotten to do much crocheting yet in February, but it should be changing here soon. I also do pottery, so there's some days I spend in the studio. That's what I was doing yesterday. And then I work 2 shifts a month at the store I sell out. So I've already had one of those shifts, so that kind of wiped out my day and I didn't get much crocheting. I did get some at the store done that I showed you earlier. But hopefully we can buckle down. And I think all 5 days next week we can work on crocheting. So maybe we'll do another crochet challenge and just whip through some yarn. So for the yarn I bought, I got another yellow. I was running pretty short on that. I got this woodland tweed. I like to use this for cats, and I need to make a bunch of cats soon. I do have some left. It's probably like 1/3 to half of a skein, but just in case something happens. I know Bernay is not only at Joann, but they just have such a good variety of colors, so I wanted to grab one of these. And then I got more gray. So I use this gray for possums and my gray axolotls, so I can finally make a second gray axolotl so it's not on its lonesome by itself. Gray does do pretty decent in axolotls, I think, but grabbed a couple of those. And then I also grabbed 3 black because I only have a tiny bit left, and you know, you just use black for everything. So there's that. And then the most quantity of one color I got was, I believe 5 whites. So here's 1, 3, and then 5. So I got lots and lots of white. I use white for just about everything. So I currently have 2 on my shelf. 1 is a partial, but I think it's practically full. So now we have 7 white, so we'll be good on that. We're actually probably going to use some white today. And then because I was running low, I also got 2 of these baby lilacs. I also got Pow Purple that I like to pair with the baby lilac, just because these pair so nicely together for doing a monochrome solid color piece. So I like these 2 together. In terms of the cats, I also like to use sandy tweed, so these 2 pair nice together, and sometimes I'll do this with white, and they're just nice cat colors. For solids, I also got another royal blue. I was running low on this after doing my axolotl challenge. And then lastly for solids, I got another baby pink. I love this pink so much. I use it for all of my solid pink things, and I go through it a lot with pink axolotls, so definitely needed more of that. I think I had 1 left from the challenge, now I have 2. And then the last couple things I got, I like to use for my pocket pals. So that would be my stingrays, whales, and most importantly, octopus. I love this strawberry dot color, and somehow I was out of it, and I almost always have one of these available, so now we have that. And then my 2 best-selling colors in the pocket octos, I have Stormy Ocean and then Mini Succulents. This one doesn't have a lot of the blue in it, so it's a different than what I normally see, but maybe the blue's all in the middle. But these 2 are a must-have, and I'm also out of both of these. So a nice haul. And here is all of that laid out. I got 21 skeins. So hopefully that'll last me a little bit. So now I get to try to fit them all on the shelf over here, which doesn't have too much room, but I definitely have room on my black and gray shelf here. So we'll see how this all fits on here. actually managed to get all of it to fit. I did have to put quite a bit down here, which that shelf's normally bare. And then clearly my green shelf is a little sad, but I've been going through a bunch of green yard lately, trying to get rid of it, like all of these little scraps. Been making a bunch of baby leggy frogs, so I might eventually move this shelf down a little bit so I can have more room for pinks. But looking good so far. Oh, and I forgot this bit over here. So this was off of my blue shelf because my blue and purple are combined. So I set this to the side, and maybe that'll be part of this challenge for this month, is to get rid of this yarn. I do love this, I think it was called turquoise, but it's been discontinued, and that's all I have left. So I used to make trans plushies out of it because it was a nice blue for that, but I don't think I have enough to make much, or I could make my trans jellyfish, but we'll figure out what to do with these blues just to get them out of the way, and that'll be part of February's challenge. So I had to change. I'm surprisingly really hot right now, which doesn't make sense because my weather app says it's only 37 outside, but I'm boiling in here, so I have the fan on, so apologies if you can hear that. But I think our next goal is going to be actually finishing our second skein. So this bad boy, I just weighed it, weighs 139 grams. So I'm going to go through it until I run out. So I'm going to make mushy boys. I currently don't have any prepped for markets. I do have some at my store, but they also sell really well at my store. So it's always good to have backups. So we'll see how many tops 139 grams of red yarn can make. Alright, so that partial skein gave me 6 complete mushroom tops. And then I got one partial one just to finish it out. And luckily I do have a full skein of this, so I am going to finish this mushroom top, and then I'll move on to the mushroom bodies. And I'll check in with you when I'm fully done with the mushrooms. So I finished all 7 of the mushy boys. Some of them were back there. I didn't set them up nicely, but after finishing that, I almost finished a whole white skein. So this guy will go back on the shelf, and I'm sure I'll use this up by the end of the month. But I will catch up with you after I finish my next skein. Today is Monday, February 10th, and I just made these 4 dolphins using that blue yarn that I pulled off my shelf the other day that I was hoping to go through. And after making those, I also made an octo in that color. And then I made majority of another octo in this color, but it has 2 tentacles in the other color. And then this is all the yarn we have left, so a pretty good way of getting rid of that. Unfortunately, there's really nothing I can make with this, but I'll set it in a drawer for now, and maybe at the end of the month we'll have enough of yarns like this we can make an ultra scrap octopus, but we'll see. So now we have 2 more skeins down. Today is Thursday, February 13th, and I just made 12 sea stars. This one did finish off the skein, but I have now a bunch of tiny skeins, so I'll see what I can make with those. This one I do have 2 more full skeins of, so I will finish that with a bigger project, I bet. But we're getting closer to using more skeins. So far we have 1 more knocked off our list. I went through these scraps from the sea stars, and I ended up with 12 different pocket octos. A couple of them are duochrome, just to use up the scraps. And then I did not finish sunset because I do have 2 more full skeins of that. So after all of these, we finished that sparkle tomato with the sea stars, and then this finished 6 more skeins. So off to a great start. So it's quite a bit later. It has been a week since my last check-in. Today is Thursday, February 20th. And I'm not too happy with how much we've gotten accomplished so far this month. So a couple things I haven't caught you up on. I have been making some ear warmers here and there. Just when I have a couple minutes, I'll crank out a couple rows. So we have gone through a couple of acrylic colors. Let me pull up my spreadsheet. So I have finished 5 skeins of acrylic yarn so far. So I finished one of my white skeins, which got used in quite a bit of these. And then we finished up this one, which is called Arcade Party, in both of these colors. Or this is what the color looks like, 2 earwarmers. And then I did not finish this color, but I did pair it with Arcade Party. So there's 1 skein, or 2 because I did the white. I did finish up this light blue color. I believe this was an Impeccable that's been in my collection that I've been trying to get rid of. So 3 with that one. And then we made 4 with, this was called Blue Haze. It was a big twist color. And then I also finished off an orange, but it's still on my Centro because I'm still working on it. But the orange part is completely finished, and then I'm going through another white skein. So that should be finished by the end of the month, hopefully. I have 8 days left. So I don't typically work on the weekends. So I have today, tomorrow, and then 5 days next week, because the end of the month is on a Friday this month, which is great. Hopefully we can crank out, because so far we are at, I think, 16 skeins, and I'd like to be much higher than that. I've also kept track, and so far for plushies and earwarmers, I've made 68 total for a possible income of $1,106, which is sad for 3 weeks worth of work. So I definitely want to be making more than $1,000 in a month of inventory, especially with this being my really big prepping season. So I really need to hit the gas pedal. There were a couple of days where I wasn't at home, like I was at the pottery studio or working my shift at the store, but also I don't really have anything in the pottery studio to fire, so I don't know what I've been doing this month. I also picked a terrible month to try to track how much yarn I can use, because this is when the whole Joann situation is up in the air. We still haven't heard anything about who the bidder was. I did hear there were multiple bidders, but they're, I guess, not opening who the bidders were until tomorrow. I don't know. Regardless, I have bought yarn this month. Have I used yarn? No. I also bought this month my possible first ever Parfait Chunky order. I say that because I somehow found Parfait Chunky in my collection, even though I have no recollection of ever ordering Parfait Chunky before. But I have been going through, and I'm slowly, I just dropped a leg, slowly working on seeing if I like it or not. So it's definitely tiny. This is probably the size of the head of when I make it in Bernay. So I'm slowly going through. I think you might be able to see up here, I do have a couple of Parfait Chunky pieces I'm working on. At the very least, I want to get through my box of plushies, or my box of yarn that I bought. If I'm not going to reorder it, I want to at least use it all. And then I'm also doing how many cats can I crochet in 5 days. So I'm doing a lot of interesting things. So luckily, at least the cat challenge is not, I'm not doing 5 days in a row. I'm just picking 5 days whenever I have time. So I think today we're going to not do cats. Maybe we'll make some big plushies, because that will help me use up some yarn. I have been wanting to make more baby squids, so maybe that's what we'll do today. I'll pick out some of my fun variegated yarn and do it. I'm also trying to remind myself that just because I possibly won't be able to buy some of these colors of Bernay blanket does not mean I get to hoard them. So maybe it'll be a good exercise today to pull some of that out. I've also made a couple of plushies here and there that were just a one-off and did not finish a skein, so I did not record those. But I definitely need to hone in and focus on finishing a skein because we're not doing too hot so far. I mean, yeah, 16 skeins is a decent number, but with some of those being acrylic yarn, and I don't know, I just thought I would be higher than that. So I'm going to stop yapping and get to making some plushies. I might also... See, there's just too many things I want to do. My book by Crochet by Jenna arrived yesterday, so I also want to go through and make a bunch of these. I mean, I guess technically I am making the dragon from this book, but maybe in a future video I will go through and crochet most of the plushies. Unfortunately, I have no interest in the fourth section of the food items, just because food doesn't sell too well for me. So if I do a video about this book, it'll be just the first 3 sections because I don't want to make the food ones. But we'll see if I get around to that. I have way too many plans, and also somehow April 5th is my next market. I think. I'm pretty sure. That is both so far away in my head, but also way too close. I think that's about a month and a half away. A little less than a month and a half. So I really need to get my butt in gear and get to market prepping. I also have this entire bag needs to be tagged and inventoried, so I also need to do that. I have a box over there that needs to have pictures taken because they're new plushies that I haven't made before. But it's been cloudy every time I want to take pictures, so I have a lot to do. But yeah, like I said, 2 minutes ago, I'm going to stop yapping now and actually get to working. So I'll catch up with you when I've hopefully finished a skein today. I've now finished another skein, so I had a partial of this blue jean dot. I still have one with the old Dino logo, but the partial I had made 2.5, so then I pulled out this skein to finish the third. So I'm going to go ahead and put this back on my shelf for another day, but one more skein down, hopefully a lot more to go for the month. I now finished another skein. I had a partial of this yellow mystical, and I also had a full skein. So I went ahead and made 10 shells of my tofu turtle for the pizza variant. This is the yarn that I used for the crust. At first I was just going to go until this guy was fully done, but I have barely made a dent on this. Actually, let's see how much of a dent. Okay, so I guess I used 70 grams of this, so a little more than half to make 10 shells, but that would mean to finish this I'd have to make like another 8. So but I don't need 18 pizza turtles. You know what? Yeah, I'm gonna finish this. So I could do the math, but hopefully this amount of yellow to go with this for the crust is enough to make about 8 more shells so that I can finish up this color. I want to say this is baby sand, but I have literally no idea. It has been balled up like this on my shelf for a while. So I guess here's 10 shells, and I'll catch up with you when I have hypothetically 8 more. So far I have made 7 more shells, and I have this tiny bit of crust color left. I have been doing a couple of weigh-ins just to see if I'll have enough when I get to the end, and every time it's come out that it took 7 grams, and this is exactly 7 grams. So I have been bit in the butt before where I was like a couple of stitches short when it's the exact weight I need. So let's play some yarn chicken for this 18th shell. Hopefully, yeah, I think we're gonna be totally fine. Yep, we are good. So I had actually quite a bit left, but that means we're done with another skein. So I made a total of 18 shells for the pizza turtle. They still need their pepperonis, and then the body's made. And I'm probably gonna hate myself when it comes to that day, but I'm not doing that now. It's 4 o'clock. Let's see. I might work on finishing my dragon and just some parfait chunky stuff to see my thoughts on the yarn. So far I don't hate it, but the plushies come out a lot smaller than they do in Bernay. So I will have a full video on my thoughts of parfait, so I'll link it here when that video is posted. But if I finish any other skeins today, which I don't think, I'll check in with you. Otherwise, I'll see you when I've done another skein. And hopefully in these last couple of days in February, we can get through a couple more skeins. We can officially mark 2 more skeins off for the month. So with this cat here, I finished the last of the orange that I started at the beginning of the month with the axolotl. I also just finished off, I guess I shouldn't dangle my hook, just finished off the last of that white skein. So that was an entire skein of white we've used this month. And I'm going to continue making cats, so I've got another white skein. I did just open another orange to finish off this cat, but this makes 7 calico, so I might make a couple more, but definitely not going to get through the rest of this skein. So 2 more down, and hopefully a bunch more to go by the end of the month. And now we can mark 1 more skein off of my shelf, but I did have to go out and buy another one of this. This is the first cat I'm making with it, so I didn't have enough, but I'm gonna make a bunch of cats with this skein. I doubt I'll finish it, but 1 more down. So this green guy is almost done. I will for sure be using it up, but I have been making both pizza turtles with it, which this guy just needs sewn shut, and also, I don't know if I've shown this video yet, this little chick with a frog hat. How cute is that? So I have a bunch of heads and frog hats in front of me, and I just have been too lazy to get up and grab another skein of this. But let's go ahead and count this guy done, because I will be fully finishing it within the next day. I believe we have 2 days left of February if you don't count today. So about 2.5 days. I'm hoping to be able to finish this yellow by the end of the month, again with making these little chicks. But ooh, we're getting close, and I feel like I've done nothing this month, but also so much at the same time. I also don't recall if I've updated you on my sunflower turtles, but we are getting close to an almond. I will try to make this a focus of using by the end of the month. I still have heads and fins and all that to make. This is how much is left of the yarn I'm using for the petals. I think it's marigold, but I could be wrong. I definitely don't think I'm going to use it up because, oh, there's a one in progress. It doesn't use that much of the yarn to make the petals, so I doubt this will finish, but hopefully we can finish this yellow and the almond. Those are definitely my goals to get done for the month. And then we do still have 3 of those blues I pulled off the shelf because they didn't fit that I haven't touched yet. The red, white, and blue one I have used in the past to make jellyfish as like the tops, and then if I don't have enough to make a top, I can use the rest to make tentacles. They sell okay. And then I think for the turquoise, that one might fully go into making tentacles for jellyfish for the trans flag. I guess that's a lot to do for the rest of the month. I'm also close to finishing a black and a white for cats. A lot that I can possibly do. Alright, I'll try to get my butt back in gear. It is 2 p.m. now on Wednesday, February 26th. So I have a couple more hours today, and then I'll probably do one more day of my cat challenge, which will be day 4. And then one day of trying to finish out the almond. It'd be great if I can finish this today. We'll see if I can make that happen. I don't know, I haven't yet weighed how much yellow this uses, but definitely not a lot. So, a lot of work ahead of me to get those last couple of goals done, and then hopefully we get through quite a bit of yarn. I have been slowly making a bunch of ear warmers. Actually, let me grab those real quick so I can get them put away. I have quite a bit here. So this is the orange and white that I was talking about a couple of updates ago. Orange is finished, yellow is not. Sorry, white is not. Orange is finished, white is not. And then I went out and bought, I think this was a jelly bean or a lollipop? I don't know, one of the new big twists that I wanted to grab just to see if it worked out nicely in the ear warmers, because there's still a ton left at Joann. And I think when the deal gets better, I might go grab a bunch of those. So we have this guy. So the jelly bean was 1, 2, 3, 4 ear warmers. And with that, I also finished off this green color. And it's also with this camo. I did open my yellow, but I'm not going to finish that yellow because it's a big twist. So it's not one of my goals to get rid of. But I needed to pair it with something. I did not quite. I need to make one more with the camo yarn, but I ran out of green. I have more greens, but not greens that match it. So I might pair it with a brown. So I need to finish off the camo because it's not quite done. This green is done. This green is done. And then this solid green is done. And I'm getting close to this variegated green being done. So I lost count of how many that was, but I'll put the number up here. I'll update it as to how many we're at. So on top of all of the Brene yarns that I just said, I do have a couple more ear warmers I need to make. Okay, I have a lot more work than I thought I had for the next 2.5 days. So I'm going to stop yapping, get to work, and hopefully finish some skeins off. I went through and made a couple more of the hats. So now I've finished the green and I'm on to a new skein. That one's definitely not getting finished in the next 2 days. But I was hopping on here to show you that my yellow is about to run out. So yellow skein done, and I'll pop open a new one. Alright, and one more skein down. Today is February 27th, so we've got one more full day left. But another one down, and I'm hoping to also finish out black today. So I'll catch up with you in a little bit. And one more skein down. So I've already connected this to my next black, but I finished that bad boy out. And I'm not sure how I feel about the all black cat. I tried doing the eye details like I see most people do, but I don't know. I'll keep going forward. My goal today is to make 4 of at least the 3 different cats. So I finished 4 solid gray, 4 white and gray, and then I wanted to make 4 black. This is the first one. So I guess I'll keep going, see how they do. I know a lot of people have black cats, so I'll keep making 4, and then we'll see if I make more in the future. But another skein down. It is now February 28th, so it is the last day for my monthly challenge. So yesterday I did go ahead and finish out the 2 green skeins I needed to finish. So that was this green variegated as well as this green solid. So I did have to crack open these 2 colors to finish them out. This one I think is going to look really cool as just a solid using that one skein, but I'll have to do that next month. And then unfortunately this green, even though it's big twist value, my machine hated it. I honestly thought I had broken my machine when I was working on that. But there's 4 more ear warmers, and then I did finish the black and white I was talking about the other day with cats, but I did show you those. So I think really the only in progress to try to use up yarn, I could work on pizza turtles, but there's a lot more of that green left. But this is what I have left of the first almond color. And then, as I mentioned earlier, I don't believe I'm going to finish what I believe is marigold, but I will finish doing the petals. It looks like I only have 1.5 to add the petals to. So we have 4 turtles going currently. And honestly, I could make more. I realized that this mystery yarn I had been using, I thought for the longest time that this was Dollar Tree yarn. But then I found that I apparently had Parfait Chunky in my yarn collection. So I believe I was using Parfait Chunky. It's not quite the almond color I ordered, so it could be a different color, or it could just be a dye-lot difference because, again, this yarn is from like 2 years ago. But I do have my Dollar Tree skeins, so I might crack those open. We'll see what I decide to do today, just to get that marigold used up. So I have the tails done, and then I believe I finished all of the front flippers. So I just need to do back flippers, the heads, and as well as finish the bodies up. So a little bit of work there for those. And what else could I do today if I have time? Yeah, I think I'll just do the sunflower turtles today unless I get bored. Oh, that's what I forgot was the blues that I said I was going to use this month. Maybe the posy purple I'll just turn into octos. You can't always see this in my shops because of the polyfill, and that's partially on purpose. But this entire bucket, it's pretty full, is octopus bodies, and then there are some stingrays in here, I believe. Yeah, some stingrays as well that need eyes and stuffed and sewn shut. So like here's one I made earlier this month, just trying to use up scrap yarn. So I hate that Posy Purple there's not much left, but I used to make octos out of it, and it's just an easy stash buster for me. So I guess, yeah, let me go grab those yarns. Alright, so I have the colors. So there is quite a bit of this. So this would make a lot of jellyfish if I go that route with it. But I hate to use it for anything besides the trans plushies I have planned to make. So maybe I won't finish this guy out, just because I do have plans for it. I do have a very similar Big Twist color, but I hate combining Big Twist and Birthday, but I'm going to have to do that just because Big Twist plush is slightly bigger. So here's the Posy Purple. It seems size-wise big enough to be able to do a pocket octo, but I'd have to measure that, and my scale is normally right here, but it's across the room right now because I was using it for something else. And then here is the red, white, and blue one, which could probably make 3 tops of a jellyfish. And then this one's nice because I just take the colors out of it to then make the tentacles with. So I like using variegated for the tops. I can't think of anything else to make with this, and I did finally just have the last one I had sell. It had been sitting at the store I sell at for a while, but I feel like they did pretty well at markets. I just haven't had jellyfish in a hot minute. This is why I end up with so many of these tiny guys. It's the decision fatigue. I don't want to repurchase this color. It's too patriotic to me. Because if I repurchase the color, then I don't have to care about what I make with it, because then I just attach the next scheme. But I have been yapping for too long, and I bet this is a really long video to begin with. So those are my projects for the day. Hopefully we can stay productive. I feel surprisingly really awake. It is currently 8:15 a.m. So we'll see how it goes. I do have some Celsius in the kitchen if I need to crack into those. But I will stop procrastinating by yapping to the camera and move on. Alright, so I finished the petals on all of these, and then all 4 got their fins sewn on. So after doing all of that, this is what is left of the first almond skein. So I went ahead and grabbed a second one, and then I need to stuff and finish up the bodies, as well as make foreheads. And then based on my mood, I might make more shells. The sunflower turtles are like hit or miss for me. I remember they did pretty well at my Pride event last year and the year before, I think. So at least I have that coming up in June. And it's just a nice way for me to work through some of my yarn. So like I mentioned earlier, I would be using the Dollar Tree brown. So we'll see if I get to that, and then how I feel about the Dollar Tree yarn. I don't think I'd be repurchasing it, but I need to use it, so there's that. So I'm going to keep going on these, and I will update you once they are fully finished. It is currently 9:36, so hopefully it doesn't take me too long to make those. I won't necessarily sew on the heads today. Maybe I will. Sometimes I make the body fully and the head and then just leave it until I want to put it out on my table and then sew on the head. So it's not out of the ordinary if I don't sew the heads on today. But we'll see how I get. And then, yeah, we'll go on from there. So I'll check in with you in a bit. Update again, it is now 11:12 a.m. and I finished all of the bodies for the 4 sunflower turtles as well as the 4 heads. They of course still need sewn shut and the head sewn on, but I'm going to call those good for today. I will get to that on a later date just so we can try to get through as much yarn as we can today. I definitely used a decent chunk of the second skein. Maybe not quite half, but quite a bit. Like, I can definitely squeeze it. So I am still in the mood to work on turtles though. So I think I am going to make a couple more. So let me go grab the Dollar Tree yarn. Alright, so I also went ahead and grabbed another one just so you can see the label. So this is what I mean when I say the Dollar Tree yarn. So I had these 2 over there, one of which I caked, one which I did not. But I also still have this tiny bit left that wasn't quite enough to make another shell. And it's pretty close in color. And if I double strand it, I think it'll be fine. So I'm going to make a couple more of these guys. And hopefully, ideally I would finish all 3 of these so we can get 3 more skeins down, because this one I started during this month but haven't yet finished. But that's also a lot of yarn to get through. So we'll see how motivated I am to keep going. I want to at the very least make shells until I eat lunch, which gives me about an hour to 2 hours depending on when I get hungry. And I'm already starting to feel a little hungry. And then hopefully we can end the day maybe by using these. I don't know, I just don't want to make jellies and octos right now, so it wouldn't take that long, and I did tell myself I would use these in February, so we will see if I get to that. But again, I'll check in with you in a little bit. Another update, so I ended up finishing all 3 of the browns. This is what I have left, so I am going to count all 3 as done, because what even are you going to make with that? So I won't throw it away. I always keep my scraps. I'll probably throw it in my Parfait Chunky box, even though it's not Parfait Chunky. And then maybe use it someday. That yarn ended up making another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 shells. So that'll make a total of 11. I'm not sure if the camera will pick it up, but I'll try to show you the texture difference. So this is what Parfait Chunky looks like, and this is the Dollar Tree yarn. It is now 2:20. I think I'm just gonna keep making the appendages with the rest of this almond, and then possibly call it a day. Yeah, I don't think I'll get to the jelly, but it is there if I need, if I want to, but. And then this weekend I'll go through and make sure I have all of my yarn marked in my spreadsheet that I did use. There's a couple of skeins over on the floor over here that I didn't finish, but I did use, so I need to get my end weight. And then I'll sit down Monday and tell you fully how much of each brand I used, and I think I'll even calculate how much money I spent on what I used for the month. So I did quite a variety of things, and we'll see if I had a goal of making $3,000 of inventory at least. That's about $750 a week. Ideally, I'd like to be making $1,000 a week, but at the moment, I think I'm at 2,700 or something. That's including those sunflower turtles, but not these. And I also did decide if I'm going to calculate the pizza turtles because they're currently marked as the 18 finished, but I've only finished like what, 4? So I'll figure those calculations all out this weekend, and then I'll sit down Monday and tell you all about that. And this is how we are ending the month. I added the petals to 5 of my 7 new turtle backs. They got their front fin sewn on. The almond got me almost another fin. Then this is how much yellow we have left. So now on to the results of how much we did this month. It's results time. So for the pizza turtle and sunflower turtles, I did a little bit of math because I did not finish all of them. So I based it off of if the shell is half the length of the total time it takes to make, then it counted as 0.5 of a turtle. So ignore my decimal points for some of my plushies. So in grand total for how many items I made this month, and again I could have missed some here and there, I had 162.6 items made this month. That is quite a bit. How many a week is that? So that averages to about 40 items a week that I made. And for inventory wise, I made $3,036.63 worth of inventory. So I did hit my goal. Ideally in the future I would like to be making 1,000 a week, so that would have been 4,000 for the month, but about $750 a week isn't too bad. Definitely need to start hitting it in high gear though to get ready for market season this summer. So, and now for the real reason that you've all been watching this hour-long video. How much yarn did I use for the month? Now, I have edited everything before this already, and somehow the number of skeins I recorded finishing and the number on my spreadsheet are different. So I missed some on my spreadsheet, so I don't know where that went. But again, for the most part, we got the number that we used for the month. So I have by category of type of yarn, both number of skeins that I used if I base it off of grams, and then divide it out by, for instance, Brene has 300 grams in their skein, so then dividing that by 300 to get a number, and also the number of cakes I finished. So I will also put a spreadsheet up here for you. So let me actually get my face out of the way. So I'll put the spreadsheet here, and then I'm going to block out what I haven't yet read. So obviously the one that I use the most of, as can be seen behind me, is Brene blanket yarn. That is my most used yarn at the moment. And a skein is $11.99, although I think the price is going up. I went to one Joann location and it said they were $13.49. That's also what yarnspirations.com says. So I think yarn's going up, but all of these were bought at the $11.99 price. Most of them were bought on sale. Anywho, I used 5,237 grams of Brene, which calculated out to 17.45 skeins, and I finished 24 cakes. So all in all, that was $209.31 of Brene yarn. In Posh, all I worked on this month for Posh was my temperature snake. So Posh is $9.99 a skein. I ended up using 63 grams, finishing 0 cakes, which was 0.315 skeins based on grams, which was $3.15 worth of materials. For Parfait Chunky, it is $4.99 a skein. I used 181 grams. This was me testing out the yarn for the first time, and I am going to focus more in March of using the yarn. So look out for a video coming out soon of me rating Brene yarn. Of me rating Parfait Chunky yarn as a Brene blanket user. So I finished 0 cakes, and grams wise I used 1.81 skeins for a total of $9.03. Acrylic yarn was a little harder because I have a bunch of different types of acrylic yarn, but I just picked $4.49 which is, I believe, what Big Twist Value costs. I forget which skein I looked at, but something in there is $4.49. So overall, I used 1,179 grams of acrylic yarn. That was my second biggest category. I am trying to go through and use up all of my acrylic yarn as ear warmers. I know I won't be able to sell them for a while, but just trying to get through that stash. I finished 11 cakes, and grams wise, I used 9.74 skeins. Again, I believe I based that off of either the Big Twist Value Solid or the variegated gram wise. I think I used the 121 gram one, whichever that is, for a total of about $43.75. And then I have two smaller categories that were kind of like one-offs. I bought some velvet twist from Joann. I tested it out making this little snake. I just wanted to see how I felt about this yarn because it looks really cool, and I wanted to know if I wanted to buy more of these when the sale gets good. But now it's looking like we're not gonna get yarn when the sale is good. So I'm still hoping when it hits about 40% off that I can drive around the Denver metro area and just hit up a bunch of stores, and hopefully there's still some stuff left. But it looks like I might be able to at least get acrylic yarn. But anywho, the velvet twist cost $11.99. That snake took 27 grams, which is 0.09 skeins, and it cost me $1.08. And then lastly, I did use two of those Dollar Tree skeins, which are $1.25 a piece. I used 152 grams, finishing up 2 cakes. And according to weight, it's 3.04 skeins. So I think the caked one was actually 2 of the skeins caked together, for a total of $3.80 spent. So all in all, I used 6,660 grams of yarn, finished 37 cakes. Based on weight, I used 29.32 skeins and spent $265.23 on yarn. So I turned that $265 into $3,036. But again, I include labor into my costs, so I didn't just more than 10 times the amount of money I invested. Not too bad in terms of how much yarn I used. I believe I'm going to do this challenge again in April, which April I do have 2 markets at the moment. So I'm really going to be finally in the headspace of I really need to crank out inventory. And then May is where I'm hitting the ground running with a bunch of markets starting up. So for March, I'm going to more focus on items that I need and finishing up my Parfait Chunky review. I also have Kayla's Naughty Ball yarn coming in, so I'll make a video doing that as well. I ordered mostly their smaller yarn, which is supposed to be similar to Posh. And I'm hoping that I like it enough and I can put it back in my crochet kits, because I was using Big Twist Posh, but I'm not going to be able to use that anymore. And then I did get 2 of the deluxe, so we'll test those, see how they compare. I believe the deluxe is supposed to compare to Bernay, so hopefully I like their yarn and I can continue buying that. I also believe we can buy any color of Bernay off of yarnspirations.com. So I haven't seen anybody talk about that, but I believe we can. It's a reliable source to order off of. Anywho, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope I can inspire you to do a challenge to see how much yarn you can use in a month, or maybe even in a week or a day. And if you liked this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and leave a comment below saying what is your favorite yarn that you use. Let me know down below, and then have a good one, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!